Flight Boss, bitch, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind Never Terry's Moon. Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and Dolo here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And I am Dolo the Vampire Slayer, and I'm the motherfucking Oversoul Killer. So, you know what I'm saying? This is a Star Consciousness video right now, because, you know what I'm saying, to get people into the mind of an Antares moon, a far out fixed star. You know what I'm saying? Get y'all into the mind of this shit. Because, I'm giving you perspectives like this ain't the only existence I've experienced. I've experienced other existences. So it allows me to have a broader perception in me and my soul group, because we're able to access areas of life. Like, for an example, I see myself outside looking in. So a lot of times how like people will probably want to argue with me about my explanations about the sun and my explanation about the planets. But you know how I look at you niggas? And you can't even argue this. You know how I look at you? This is how I look at you. I look at you like, okay, the day you was born, your astrological snapshot was the single idea that this being that we're in had. So the moment you was born, you are a living example, a living representation of that singular idea. So your astrological snapshot is just one idea that this being was having, and you are playing out the existence of that one idea. So even though you think you having many ideas, just your characteristics itself shows me that you're just playing out many different roles of that one totality idea of the being we in. You know what I'm saying? So you can't sit here and tell me that I don't know what the sun be thinking about, that I don't know what the sun be doing, because I can look at you niggas and you motherfuckers tell me exactly what was on the sun mind. Because you know what was on your mind, you know your whole. See, when you a spiritual being, you're able to take yourself outside the box and look in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, it's like you're just a snapshot. You're just a single snapshot. So to me, it don't matter what actions you're showing me. You're just showing me the totality of you. So the totality of you was just a single idea to the being we in. You know what I'm saying? Then everything moved as a degree is when the being had another idea. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of you motherfuckers don't match the idea of the being we in effectively. You see what I'm saying? You probably was an idea and thought that this being didn't want. So once you was born, you're playing out the role and existence of an idea that the being that we in ain't want. So what happens when you got something within your body that you don't want in your body, you want to get out? When you talk about sickness, foods, or whatever like that, you flush it out, right? You get the shit out your system, right? So you got to look at yourself as a living cell, living organism. If you experiencing any kind of situation of opposition or being pushed out and having to drift off in some type of way, then you have to reconsider why you getting that energy. So you have to understand everything in energy is last. You got religious people, all conscious people, all kind of people tie everything until what came last, the physical. We know everything is the frequency, vibration, then the energy. We know everything is the gas, then the liquid, then the solid. We know everything is the spirit, then the spirit turned into the soul, then it's the body. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know that. You know what I'm saying? Now let's not act like that. You tie. I even heard a preacher say some shit like they was having an argument about it was a transcendental argument about the I don't know all the language and the words that they using, but they just, all I know is they got a bunch of presuppositions. You know what I'm saying? That's all I see. But for the most part, they was trying to say like the logical absolutes, like what we're logically referring to, and the logic included middle and shit like that, and shit like what, you know what I'm saying? Just shit that's common sense, right? They was trying to say that it transcends the universe because you can't weigh it. You can't, it's unobservable. But who said that was outside of the universe? Who said just because something unobservable or something is non-liftable or you can't weigh it? Who said that's outside the universe? Who said your feelings and emotions and thoughts is outside the universe? Then you had the atheists arguing with them. They just as confused. He was saying shit like, well, well, yeah, you kind of right, but we just haven't discovered it yet. And I'm looking at both of them like, is y'all retarded? How do you know it's just not in another dimension? And if you understand dimensions, you know the higher the dimension, the less dense, the less physical. So it's going to be things there that you can't weigh in the dimension you in. You know you in the third dimension. So don't get all spooky and religious on me when I say you in the third dimension. You in 3D. You know what I'm saying? So who's to say that a thought is just in a higher dimension? But you're able to perceive it because you're able to compare it and conflate it to the dimension that you in. So the thought is just in a higher dimension. But who's to say there's not beings and spiritual beings in that dimension that look at that as a form of physicality? You see what I'm saying? Then, once we dive into this, I'm going to start explaining your Bible for you. And we don't want to dive into that. You see what I'm saying? So, but people are just lacking knowledge, you know. But for the most part, man, people just have to understand that you're the roles you play out. Now, for an example, now my son was in Aries when I was born, so I have natural energy that I can access to Mars. So anytime I do something that's dealing with intent, willpower, passion, motivation, desire, and being soldier-like and taking over or being able to change something, then that energy is always going to be applied. But once I start overindulging in it, then that's when I'm going to start receiving, it's going to start putting situations and obstacles in front of me to show me that I need to slow the fuck down. Now, I can't blame nobody else but Mars because that's what I was channeling, because we manifest our own situations with our own planets alignments. Same way the totality of the being we in, all the planets is the being we in. You see what I'm saying? So I can't just stop there. If I'm going to put sense to things, then I'm going to have to realize that the energy of intent, willpower, passion, motivation, and desire of all in the world comes from Mars. So I can't be sitting here and be picky and choosy like, oh, this is the good part about Mars. Oh, but when I see somebody aggressively killing, or when I see somebody aggressively playing sports and snap somebody's neck or things of that nature, I can't be trying to say, oh, that's not Mars, that's something else. No, it's the same fucking shit. And the reason it was allowed and applied because the person whoever did it was channeling that energy the best. So like I said, energy don't give a fuck about your perception. Energy don't give a fuck about how you see things. Energy don't give a fuck about how you feel. Energy is just going to go where it's most received, where it can connect the most. And you can't tell me I'm lying because energy attracts other energy. You know what I'm saying? If you are a killer, 9 times out of 10, you are amongst other killers. If you are a thief, 9 times out of 10, you are amongst other thieves. Or you're a person who wants to be in a relationship. Just like Tauruses and Libras. They have the natural energy to become relationship gods. You see what I'm saying? Scorpios and Aries. They have the energy to be war gods. You know what I'm saying? Leos have the energy to be gods. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand that the zodiac sign is just pieces of the body, like areas and locations. It's just locations in space. Locations in space vibrate at a certain frequency. A cluster of stars can communicate out of it based upon other stars that have been here first, like suns. You see what I'm saying? So when this sun, you see what I'm saying, going through constellations, that's the same way through you. It's you having an idea of each location in your body. So when the sun is shining light and each planet is following it, rotating, that's just the sun using its chakras. See what I'm saying? So the sun may be in a loving manner at times, based upon if the sun sextiling or trining Venus. You know what I'm saying? That's just, when you look at it with you, that's just you resonating with your heart chakra or your solar plexus chakra. You see what I'm saying? You want to experience love and appreciation. So it's rotating. So all the beings in you look at it like it's this shit just rotating. This big ass balls of light, orbs rotating, sources rotating. You know what I'm saying? And we know this is the biggest source. See, the ideas, the mind. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. I'm gonna teach you motherfuckers how to really be stars. Y'all motherfuckers think y'all stars now. I'm gonna teach you motherfuckers how to really be stars. Y'all motherfuckers don't know what it is to be a star. Because I see the confusion amongst you every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give you as many perceptions as possible to help you understand the perspective, the overall perspective, so you can slowly but surely get up out of your illusions and lights that you are in. You know what I'm saying? Virgos, Geminis. When the sun goes through those stars, this gives people who have the alignment with the sun sign being Virgo or Geminis, this gives them the opportunity to be communication guides, to be the idea guides, to be the thought, to be the thinking guides. So a lot of times they get overloaded with information and it make them nervous. It make them overthink. It could be an overload. That's the only time Mercury and the Sun create circumstances and situations in front of Virgos and Geminis when they start to feel like they know too much, when they start to try to analyze too much, when they start to try to have too many ideas at one time, when they start to try to be too practical and make sense and reality about everything. Then that's when Mercury and the Sun is going to create circumstances and situations. So when I be saying shit like the Sun is evil and things of that nature, I just be taking it a step further and looking at the totality of things. But based upon my emails, I understand I have to dive in 3D now and baby feed y'all, and for y'all to understand that you see what I'm seeing every day. You're just still stuck behind illusions and lights and still blocked up under certain tree shades and things of that nature to the point that you can't really see the full perspective. But it's not always your fault. Sometimes you may be very young spirits. You just may not have been here enough times. And you may have to experience what you experience a lot more times through a lot more vessels in order to inhabit this kind of knowledge. And you're dealing with ego if you're looking at me in a way like, what make you able to say that? Because I see you being young and I see you being black and I see you being in a basement and that's, you know what I'm saying? All that is ego. Information it takes shape and form and it comes in ways, in all kinds of ways. So don't limit those ways that it's going to come. Just take and receive the knowledge, and you're gonna think like, damn, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You can't separate shit. At some point in time, we have to all come together as one. But when I say that as Archangel Uriel, I'm talking about that on a totality of things. I'm talking about that as a totality, as in frequency, vibration, and energy, not just people and beings and humans and things on Earth. I'm talking about it as a mind state. You know what I'm saying? Don't just think something like this mean this and it only mean that, and then when it show those same characteristics into something else, that's something else. No, it's that same energy. Don't just think the sun is making you consciously aware of this, but it's not making you consciously aware of that also. You know what I'm saying? I bet you wake up and tell yourself every day, the sun give me energy. The sun give me the ability to fight. The sun give me vitality. The sun give me the energy force. The sun activate my melanin and put the liquid in there, blah, blah, blah. I bet you wake up and say all this kind of crazy shit every day, right? But why don't you never ask the question, what the sun is not making you consciously aware of? What the sun is not making you capable to do? Ask that question. It's the same shit with religion and God. You know what I'm saying? With people who thank God for everything. You know what I'm saying? You got rappers and everybody. The first thing that come out their mouth. Oh, thank God. God bless me. And I don't subscribe to the word bless, because bless is being less in any shape, form, because you have to pray to be less, and you're praying for a predator, so you're being less under some circumstance. You see what I'm saying? You should always be more, which I do agree with that with the Moors, but the Moors don't understand that the more that you add weight onto yourself, bring yourself more into density. But see, if you understand natural energies, you'll be able to help all cultures. You see what I'm saying? But you will get the same shit with God. You know what I'm saying? People will thank God all day, every day for what they got. Famous celebrities. Thank God for blessing me, because if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have this. But what the fuck happened when you don't got that shit to support your kids or anything? What the fuck is that? Still God, or is that something else? You start making excuses. Well, this is a challenge I got to go through, and this is something God put me through. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that's the sun and the illusions and lights and the illusion that it created for you to perceive, and your way of perceiving it is the only problem. Nothing outside of you is the problem. And you know this if you got any type of conscious awareness in you. You know nothing outside of you is your problem. So if you got a problem that's outside of you, you know it's inside of you. So why stop there? Stop stopping places and making it and trying to find something else to blame. When if you want to blame something, I'm giving you something to blame. The totality of things. If you want something to blame, I'm at a state in my life where I work with these things. I'm as one with these things. I look at these things as one with me because I know the shit I'm up under is up under something. And I experienced and I have had the opportunity to have a brain that can conceive all the other brains that I had. So I remember every dimension I was in. So when I come here and be able to tell you that I was in a realm of reality where this snake being that we in right now ain't shit. This is an animal being. So you would get your human self, your human fake conscious black self, and you'll be like, well, people using too much of the reptilian brain and people this, and we need to get out of this and this, that, and third, where you fail to realize the totality, the being you in, the being that make up this solar system that you in is a snake, is a dragon. So before you can even talk about escaping the actual yourself, your reflections that you're in your other people. When I say reflections, that's not a stab at Eligio. I don't want y'all to say that, but this is what everything is. Everything is a mirror. When you open up your eyes, you're receiving light. So it's a reason to why he even said that. Everything comes to the star from the stars. But when you look at that, everything you see, you have to come to that conclusion. It's the sun. It's the planets. It's the body. You see what I'm saying? The totality of a being you in is a snake, is a dragon. So before you even talk about escaping a reptilian brain or anything, you got to be consciously aware enough and become a conscious aware enough source that you can inhabit a big enough vessel that you can travel your mass out of this being and go perceive and experience another realm of reality, aka another solar system, another being. But a lot of y'all niggas don't know how to get out of this rapture, don't know how to get out of this rotation, don't know how to, and this rotation, it shapes and form you. It's like a vase. You see how it rotates when it shapes and form, and just like when you look at a flower, when you look at everything, everything takes shape as the rotation. The rotation is making a specific shape. But if you outside looking in, the rotation is just stale. It's just steady. It'll look like a thing. But when you within it, everything is like a rotation. Things take shape and form of a rotation. When you have a vase that's going round, when you make it, it takes the shape and form of what it's on, what it's in. So what you in, what you look like, you took shape and form of the rotation you in. You within a being, so you look like the being. So before you even talk about escaping any type of reptilian or anything, you have to take your mind out of that and understand that there's other minds, other beings to be inhabit. But I'm telling you that from an experience. And all you're going to do is give me a bunch of rhetoric about this being that we in. And that's exactly why you're going to keep coming back to this being that we in. And you're not going to ascend. And your only vision, your only way of looking at ascending is ascending in this being, in this rotation. You will never experience a real rapture. I've been in beings where we had real raptures, where we understood off the bat, and we all come together as a frequency, vibration as an energy, aka we all had the same idea. We all had the same feeling and emotion about that idea. And we all take a specific stance with our body in the same way at the same time. You never experienced everything closing in the way I have. You never experienced death the way I have. You never experienced transformation the way I have. You never experienced being the smallest thing in the world, but being able to perceive it as the biggest thing in the world. Because you was able to inhabit all the vessels as being the biggest thing in the world, to actually you came back to being that's actually the world of being the smallest thing in the world. You never experienced that. I have. And I know you haven't experienced that based upon the bullshit that everybody kicked. Everybody on the internet is wrong. And goddamn, I'm going to have to use a little bit of ego to say this. Everybody on the internet is wrong. There's not one soul that's right. They're just pieces of it right. I'm the only person on the internet bringing the totality together of all the pieces. I don't want to hear about no religion. I don't want to hear about no history. I don't want to hear about what was history and how does it compare to what they really meant now. Because here's as Archangel Uriel, here's how I see it. When y'all hear a word based upon history, y'all would take that and tell somebody in the present, nah, this is what they really meant. So you taking something from what it meant and trying to change it and tell people what it really meant, which no, it meant that way in the fucking first place. How can you and you do that with everything. Y'all do that with history and everything. Y'all take something that happened in motherfucking Kemet, and then y'all take Christianity and be like, here's what Christianity was talking about. They was really talking about this. And then y'all will go to Kemet. And it's like, what? Do y'all really understand what y'all doing? It's not that. What it is everything is just talking about the same thing. Just in their own new civilizational way. So if certain things start to look like they're making sense or accumulating with each other, it's because whatever civilization was speaking, pointing to the same thing. They just got their own way of pointing to it. So it ain't no, so that's like lower information. When y'all take what's happening now and say, oh, this is what's actually happening because this was happening. Look, whatever is happening now is what always been happening. It's nothing different. Just your way of looking at it. But for some reason, y'all confused into thinking that was smarter. And I can tell you that, no, things was dumber and things was more uneducated. Because of I can tell you, based upon the energetic force that the planetary systems was in at that time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is let's look at it like this. When this being you in as a solar system, as a conscious being, when it want to change an idea, you change ideas every second. To this being, every second to you, to this being, every second, that might be 2,000 years to you. That a whole idea, a whole different idea, a whole new outlook might be 2,000 years. But if you was to equate yourself to being this being, you think about thoughts every different second. So this being, think about thoughts every second. But you being so small in this being, it may appear to be like 2,000 years to you. But you're not even consciously aware enough, and you haven't inhabited a brain enough to be able to remember all the vessels you inhabit, to be able to be like, oh shit, I was here 2,000 years already. You only know how to think about you here being now, but your dumb fake conscious ass gonna sit here and equate to some history and say we was them in the past. So you're gonna sit here and be consciously aware of you was the past. But if I was to sit here and tell you some type of analogy or something like that, you would sit here and say, well, I'm here now, I'm in the present. Y'all don't know how lost y'all is. Everybody on the internet is wrong. It ain't not one motherfucking person right. So I have to say ego a little bit. Because I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm wrong, because I know what I'm kicking is not wrong. And it could resonate with your spirit. It's not, this shit ain't gonna resonate with your physical. This shit is only gonna resonate with your spirit. You can't look at nothing physical or any physical attribute or any chakra that you choose to want to go into. You can't look at none of those areas in life and be like, damn, this cat makes sense, or I can equate that to this. You can only go to yourself and close your eyes into your spirit and be like, damn, that shit makes sense. It ain't till you start to learn shit and people give you their perspective on shit till you lose yourself. And you lose yourself. And then you always constantly thinking you found yourself. And then you really didn't. See, I done been there already. All those experiences and thoughts and ideas that you have, I done had those many times. So it doesn't even matter the age. A lot of thoughts you didn't have as you being going on 50. I didn't have all those thoughts probably at 3 years old. I didn't have all those thoughts in previous lives. I didn't experience your life already. All you guys' lives, everything that all y'all is doing, I already did that. Like literally. To the point that I can sit here and tell you, when I say I already did that, I'm not even I. When I say I already did that, I'm not talking about me. See, me not talking about me. Me is Flight Boss. See what I'm saying? When we talk about I, we just talk about the I am, the being that you in. So the being that, whether you was here or not, this being that you in already had all those experiences. So this would give you the ability to say, I did that. What the fuck? Oh, okay. This gives you the ability to say, I did that. This gives you the ability to say, I never did that before. Because you finna to experience something that this being haven't experienced spiritually though. Not physically. Spiritually. Because you have your own sun. You have your own travels. So when you experience something you haven't experienced before, you are experiencing an area of this body that you in haven't seen before. And since you are your own light, you're giving light source to that area. So it comes in inventions, new ideas, new thought forms. So now you gave that to this being. This being knows about itself. And it'll play out in existence as you know more about yourself. And you know more about the cosmos. And you finding out more about new stars and new planets and shit. See, this is a level of perspective I'm on right now. And there's no true way to get you here unless you experienced it yourself. But everything I'm saying, you can't say it don't make sense. You can't. You shouldn't even be using that word can't. Because you in that vibration. If you experiencing any type of opposition right now, you in that vibration. Not the person, place, or thing that gave you that feeling and emotion. They just played out as the energies that was going to take shape and form of the energy that you attracted to yourself. You see what I'm saying? This is the time where you have to really decipher. You have to really understand law of attraction. The law of attraction and manifesting is two different things. The element, the energy and the element that you carry, you're going to always manifest that because that's the energy you in. So in your travels, you're going to accumulate that energy. But when we talk about law of attraction, opposites attract, you always going to attract the opposite. This is why when you look at astrology, the opposite signs is looking opposites to each other. But you would get a dumb person saying that opposites don't attract because I'm always here and I always attract the people I'm around. No, your element manifests more of the element that you are consistent in. But you always going to experience opposite. The same way male like female, the same way you take yourself and have to understand something else outside of you. That's a totality of opposite right there. Opposites always going to attract, or you wouldn't even exist right now without no form of friction, without no form of opposition. You gotta see, man. There's so many brain waves I gotta break down for y'all. And it's like, I understand that when you take something from people and you don't replace it with nothing, you leave a person even lost in the valley of death. And it's like, I'm just pouring out my soul. This ain't for nothing. I'm not doing this for nothing. I'm just doing this for pure understanding, overstanding, and for we can all even just start to come together. Because what I'm talking about is just going to start. It's just going to start. It's all the same shit. Start shit. It's going to spark that nature that get everybody on the same page. But the shit that's making everybody not on the same page have to get ridiculed, have to get deciphered, have to get cut up, have to get chopped up. So in any way, shape, and form I come to chop it up, do not go against it. Because it's not, my knowledge is not a point to go against. My knowledge is what the shit actually is. And if you want to look at that as ego, then I'm sorry, that's your own ego. And I understand how far the ego may go. But really, sometimes you need ego. Because there's no other way, shape, or form or an illusion to come across when you're in an illusion. See what I'm saying? So sometimes you just have to use ego. Sometimes you just have to use light. Sometimes you just have to use illusion. Sometimes you just have to use that to create the shape and form Light goes around darkness, right? It takes the shape and form. Y'all don't know what dark matter is. It's emotions and feelings. The same way I'm explaining now. I have to use my light to take shape and form over my emotions and feelings, the shit you can't see, the dark matter, so you can actually see that vision outside of myself. So yeah, it may take its own course and play that ego role, but I'm just giving you the natural inclination of why it's called ego. Because it plays off as a bird or a flaming phoenix that goes outside of you, and it plays your representation. So it's like an aura now. So people, they don't even have to come into your presence to know what kind of energy you carrying because of your ego. So a person could be in their own home and talk about you because of your ego. See, I'm telling you where shit first came from, and I'm telling you why I had to even use it. And you see what I'm saying? You can't fuck with me on any level. Sometimes you have to use a little bit of ego because that's the realm of reality we in. But look, when I say shit like the sun is evil or the sun is good, who's the controller of ego? The sun, because we say the sun rules ego. When we say what the sun rules is Leo, what we give him? We give him ego. We give him pride, right? So don't you think that these are characteristics of the sun? Look, when you look at all Leos, the sun is they got natural inclinations to act out how the sun acts. So if you see a Leo act feminine, or if you see a Leo act attention giddy, or act center stage like, or act like no matter what sex that they are, they like blended in the two. If it's a male, they're just female like, or shit like that. Because the sun itself is a male and female, is a source. But in that realm of reality, there's a higher way of looking at male and female. Like I was saying, in the fourth and fifth dimension, and planets and shit like that, they got both sexes. But it's what you choose to resonate more with on your side. You choose to resonate more with the left or the right. And then with your partner, your planet or your partner's star, if they choose the opposite than what you choose from, then y'all can come together. You still look at it as male and female. But you're on that path and journey to become one with yourself. So you can become a sun star, a central source. So these characters and attributes can play out within your rotation, and you don't have to lower yourself and play out these duties and obligations yourself. You know what I'm saying? Play the female male trait yourself, or have to come into a body, a lower lesser body, come down and fix things yourself, which lessening yourself and making yourself a male or female and making things come together. So it may play. So as a totality, as a mind, you will look down on things as a sun and be like, okay, I'm going to spread my light, my consciousness through all my spectrums and all my vibrations, and have them come together at their separate versions of me as a whole. See, as a son, these are things you're learning to do. Like, yeah, see, I'm trying to find the best way, the best language, and the best brainwave that y'all resonate on, that I can actually strike your soul without all the illusions and filters behind it. And I'm gonna find it. Flight boss, bitch.